Hello friends, please like and subscribe to the channel and enjoy the stories. So, a few weeks ago I went to a party. I was high, drunk, and dancing when I decided to take a break and sit on the kitchen counter to chill for a bit. Out of nowhere, this stunning girl in an orange sweater, glasses, and a ponytail approached me and asked if I'd seen her pack of cards. Random, right? The idiot that I am, I said no, but mentioned that the owner of the place might know, and I pointed to my friend. That's when it hit me. This girl was absolutely gorgeous. I looked back at her from across the room, and she was staring at me. I started blushing. I'm really shy around girls, but eventually I built up the courage to go talk to her. For some reason, after that moment, I didn't see her again the entire night until I decided to leave. Way too high and drunk, I went outside through the back stairs to sober up, with a can of beer, of course, lol. A couple of girls were hanging out there too, and we started talking casually. They asked how I was doing, and I joked, saying, "Well, I saw this girl tonight. She was absolutely beautiful, and I fell in love." But she literally disappeared. She was wearing an orange sweater, but I didn't get the chance to grab her number. The two girls suddenly stopped talking and exchanged looks. I wondered if I had said something wrong. Then it hit me. I looked at one of them closely and realized she was the girl I'd had a crush on. She was now wearing a white top and jeans. With her hair untied, she looked so different, and without the glasses, she was even more stunning. My eyes widened. There she was. She told me someone had spilled a drink on her, so she had to go change. My heart was racing, and I was blushing so hard I couldn't say a word. I thought I'd ruined my chance by admitting I liked her. She noticed I was shy and blushing, came closer, and asked me for my Instagram. I almost fainted. We stayed up all night talking, and it felt amazing. I thought I had met my soulmate. I'm very picky when it comes to choosing a partner. A lot of the girls around me feel boring, fake, and superficial, but she wasn't any of that. She was one of the most interesting people I'd ever met. She was perfect, and I was in love. We connected so easily. We hung out a few more times, and I got to know her better. But, to my disappointment, some things started bothering me. She smoked a ton, did hardcore drugs regularly, lied to get out of tough situations, skipped classes to get stoned, she was even on probation, and other things that started to put me off. All these were deal breakers for me, and I quickly realized she wasn't the kind of girl I could be with. I was heartbroken. I could see that, for her too. The spark had gone out. Now we barely talk. My flame burned longer than hers, but eventually it extinguished. It took me a while to get over it. Now my walls are back up, and I probably won't talk to another girl for the next 10 years. I keep asking myself, why? The one rare time I meet the girl of my dreams, something has to ruin it. That's my love life in a nutshell. Guess I'll go back to loving my cars. The One That Got Away, But Lived in My Heart by Harry Dante. This is a story about how fate brought me, 40M, and Sally, 30F, together on a bittersweet journey. Even though time has passed, my love for her remains strong and intense. We met in college, and I was immediately drawn to Sally's beauty, quiet strength, and intelligence. Our paths crossed by chance, and a friendship began to form. As young adults, we both navigated complicated relationships, and we became close friends without realizing the deeper connection growing between us. Over time, we went our separate ways, me starting my career after graduation, and Sally continuing her academic journey. Yet, despite the physical distance, our bond stayed strong, and fate eventually pulled us back together. When Sally's boyfriend left for another country, our relationship shifted. Our conversations deepened, and I became someone she could rely on, supporting her through tough times and everyday struggles. Time went on, and I found out that my on-again, off-again partner, MJ, 26 at the time, was pregnant with my child. I had to step up and become a responsible father. I left my job and started my own business with my parents' help to support my growing family. Amid this huge change, Sally re-entered my life. We became business partners and chased our dreams of success together. Our work brought us closer, and my feelings for her grew stronger. Even during busy workdays, the connection between us only deepened, and fondness began to blossom. During one business trip, we shared a room to save costs, At that point, we were just friends in business, and neither of us expected anything romantic. How naive we were. That night, as we lay next to each other, we naturally moved closer and ended up holding each other. It wasn't planned, it just happened and felt right. We realized there was something special between us, something more than friendship. The next morning, we were still in each other's arms, and we couldn't ignore the complex emotions swirling inside us. We questioned what had happened, feeling both guilty and yet deeply drawn to each other. Over the following days, weeks, and months, we shared secret moments, stolen kisses, and deep conversations that brought us even closer. But beneath it all, I felt guilty about how this was affecting my relationship with MJ, the mother-to-be of my child. My love for MJ had been fading even before her pregnancy, and I knew I had to make a choice. The woman I once loved fiercely now felt distant, while Sally and I were growing closer, sliding down a path of love that would leave a lasting mark on both of us. As life's twists and turns unfolded, I faced a decision that could change many lives. My family's expectations clashed with my deep connection to Sally. In the midst of this turmoil, I knew one thing for sure. The road ahead was uncertain, but my heart wanted to follow its desires. The love between Sally and me, though unexpected and turbulent, was undeniable. I decided to confront the truth and embrace the journey toward finding my happiness, no matter where it led. It was risky, but the magnetic pull of our love was irresistible. So, with feelings for Sally and old promises in my heart, I opened up to MJ, ready to face the consequences of our fading affection. I realized that sometimes, to find true happiness, we need to break free from tradition and embrace the unknown, all in the name of love. MJ and I broke up, but the reality is that Sally and I could never be together. She wasn't willing to leave her man, who awaited her abroad. We both eventually made choices that led us down separate paths. And now we live with the consequences. MJ and I never reconciled. Sometimes life doesn't give us the happy ending we hope for. Love alone isn't always enough. It needs the right timing and circumstances, and those just weren't in our favor. I carry my love for Sally in my heart as a reminder of what could have been. The memories we shared are precious, but I know I need to focus on loving the people who are here with me now. My wife and our child. They deserve my love, even though my thoughts of Sally still linger. Now I find peace in knowing that love comes in many forms. It's not limited to one person or one path. Love can be found unexpectedly, with unexpected people. Maybe one day my path will cross with Sally's again, but for now, I cherish the love I have and the life I've built. I hold on to the love inside me and see where life takes me. In my quiet moments, I wish Sally happiness and love, wherever she may be. And now here I am, getting older with each passing year. But my heart is still deeply connected to a love that defied the limits of time and circumstance. Sally, my cherished one that got away, will always remain in my heart and memories. No matter where life takes me or what choices I make, her presence will forever stay with me, reminding me of a love that could never be forgotten. The party was off the chain, always the biggest mansion bash. Multiple dance floors, women in gorgeous dresses, men in tuxedos. And then he would show up. Greg. I always wondered what he did when he walked through the house, past the dance floors, with his group of good fellas trailing behind him, always keeping a watchful perimeter. The back room was always under heightened security. 2 giant, built bodyguards stood guard in front of the door. No one knew what was behind that door except for Greg and his crew. That night, I was dressed to the nines. I knew Greg had a thing for cute girls, and I was hoping that maybe, just maybe, as he walked by, he'd notice me. I put on my best, most captivating perfume, knowing he was a sucker for good scents. And then he walked in the door. Here he comes. He's about to walk right by me. I raised my hair, dancing slowly in his direction. I swayed my hips, moving closer to him. It worked. He noticed me. I motioned with my finger for him to come over and sweep me off my feet to the rhythm of the music. Despite his mysterious demeanor, his smile was real. He was genuinely enjoying himself dancing with me. His friends joined in, and soon they were all dancing together to the beat. He made sure everyone around him knew that I was dancing with him, and I found that so sexy. I didn't want the song to end. Greg usually had that professional look on his face when he walked to the back room at past parties. I figured he'd want to leave after the song ended to attend to whatever business he had back there. Even if that was the only attention I'd get from him in my lifetime, I'd be happy with it. But then, something unexpected happened. He grabbed my arm and said, "Come with me to the back room. Have you ever wondered what's behind that door?" I stared at him, confused. "You can't be serious. You want me to go back there? But no one is ever allowed in the back room. Why would you want to take me?" "Because I trust you," he said. I couldn't believe it. Without a second thought, I said yes. I wanted to see what was back there. I'd seen him go in with his group of people before, but no one else had ever been allowed in. He took my hand and began leading me, as if I were his date for the night. I couldn't stop blushing. Here I was, walking around with Greg, while all the other girls stared at me. But I didn't care. They had their chance. I had been coming to these mansion parties for over a year, and the little girl inside me was dying to know what was behind that door, all while being so close to him. As we approached the bodyguards, they cleared the way for Greg and his crew. He turned to look at me and asked, "Are you ready?" Then, oh my gosh, he kissed my cheek. The excitement and my nerves melted away in that moment. "You should feel special," he said. "I wouldn't do this for just any girl." He grinned. Greg opened the door, and I could hardly believe my eyes. It was an entirely new part of the mansion. There were elevated dance floors on either side, people dancing with glow sticks, and everyone was dressed in amazing outfits. The music was perfect. My face lit up with excitement. He took both my hands, as though he couldn't wait to show me everything. He guided me through the first dance floor, and the vibe was electric. We danced with all our energy, my heart opening up to him in that moment. He had brought me into a whole new world, and I couldn't help but wonder, was I the only girl he did this for? Could I really be this attractive to him? As the song slowed, he smiled and said, "This, my dear, is where you belong." He added, "What are you drinking?" "Let's grab a cocktail." I was completely speechless. A Cape Cod, please," I stammered to the bartender. "I can't believe this is real. There's a whole secret part of the party back here, and no one I know has ever been allowed in. Everyone always wondered what it was like back here." I said to Greg, still in disbelief, "Let's just put it this way. You're now a VIP among the VIPs, miss," Greg said, smoothly reaching for my hand. "Miranda," I replied, feeling like I was in a dream. "Miss Miranda, that's a beautiful name. You know, the first girl I ever kissed, in kindergarten, I believe her name was Miranda," he smiled. "She must have been a lucky girl," I smirked back. "I was the lucky guy," he replied. "Just like I am now, Miranda." Then he winked. What could I do? I smiled, a little silly with happiness. This man, this incredible, beautiful man, was giving me all his attention. He took my breath away. I reached for my purse to pay for my drink, but he stopped me. "Honey, your drinks are on the house. Anytime." He placed his hand on mine. I felt my cheeks flush. Was I lighting up like a Christmas tree right now? "Why are you being so nice to me?" I finally asked, feeling like I couldn't breathe. I'll never forget this moment. He looked me in the eyes and said, "I noticed you the moment you noticed me, darling. I've been walking through every back room looking for you. You had me with your first glance." He really knew how to take my breath away. I didn't feel scared or threatened, but I could have run at that point. Part of me wanted to. I wasn't ready for this rush of emotions. But why wouldn't I be? I had dressed for this moment for over a year, hoping for him to notice me. He was beautiful. I loved him already, even though I didn't truly know him. His smile made me fall for him. I couldn't help it. I was drawn to him like a magnet. His light shone through me when I held his hand. Damn it, I loved him. I loved him so much. I was all in. "Do you believe in love at first sight?" I asked softly. "It is, was, and always will be love at first sight with you, Miranda." He interlocked his fingers with mine. From that moment on, I was his. I became his princess, his love for life, and we danced together on endless dance floors from then on. A 16-year-old girl and a 17-year-old boy found themselves deeply in love, despite the hatred both had for their families. The girl was beautiful, with long, flowing black Pocahontas-style hair. She was a quiet and shy straight-A student, mostly unnoticed by others. Coming from a strict Chinese household, she lived above her family's small, authentic Chinese restaurant in town. The restaurant and their modest blue house were designed and built by her beloved great-grandfather, a reflection of their Chinese heritage. The boy, on the other hand, was the star quarterback at their local high school. He partied constantly and came from a wealthy Italian family who ruled over the town. His family lived in the grandest house, not just on the block, but in the entire city. Born into old money, his parents' marriage was one of convenience, lacking any real love. They came from different worlds, she from the middle class, he from the rich side of town. They never crossed paths until he asked her to tutor him to improve his grades. At first, neither of them expected anything to come from it, but she agreed, hoping it would bridge the gap between their social classes. Her life was busy, working in the family restaurant every day, but she devised a plan to meet with him outside of school so that her parents wouldn't suspect anything. They agreed to meet up after school each day. Over time, their relationship deepened, and they began to meet outside the library with the help of a few friends, keeping their romance a secret. Weeks turned into months, and their love only grew stronger. The day before their graduation, they took a walk on the beach a few miles from town to escape the pressures of their families and college. The cool ocean breeze kissed her face, while seagulls called in the distance. They couldn't have been happier, but in the boy's mind, time was running out, and he longed to be with her for as long as possible. He dreamed of a future together, getting married and having children with dark hair, a mix of both their cultures. However, the girl's mind was occupied with doubts about their long-distance future. Could a relationship like theirs really survive once they were separated for college? Neither of them noticed the figures approaching them, filled with anger and frustration. Their parents had found out about the relationship, not from their children, but from a teacher at school who had initially thought little of their connection. As time went on, he began to see them outside the library together. The teacher assumed their families knew and had no issues with it, believing that status no longer mattered. But the girl's parents had a different plan. They knew how much she loved the beach and made arrangements with the boy's family to keep them apart. They agreed that after the couple graduated college, they would allow them to be together if their feelings remained the same. As the couple graduated high school, they cherished the time they had spent together. When it was time to say goodbye to both their childhood and each other, they clung to each other, fearing this might be the last time they'd ever be together. The following weeks, leading up to their departure for college, made their bond even stronger. The separation didn't tear them apart as they feared. Instead, it seemed to draw them even closer. College became a motivation for them both to finish their studies and reunite one day. Years passed, and their love slowly faded into a memory. Both finished college at the top of their classes, pursuing careers in medicine. Growing up, they had different dreams. He wanted to become a mechanic, while she dreamt of being the town mayor. He had always doubted his own potential until she came into his life and made him believe in himself. Inspired by her, he changed his major and set his sights on becoming an ER doctor. She, on the other hand, volunteered every Saturday at the local hospital, spending time in the children's wing. Her work made her happy, leading her to pursue a career as a pediatrician. They both applied to the same medical schools and, unknowingly, chose the same one. On the first day of class, they spotted each other, and all the emotions and feelings they once shared came rushing back. After class, they met for coffee and talked about life, college, and family. His parents had divorced, remarried, and found happiness, while her parents continued to run the family restaurant in the same town. They reminisced about their failed relationship and wondered if it was possible to start over and build a new connection together. I've developed a huge crush on my best friend, and it's a bit of a mess. I guess I need to give some context to explain things better. It's a long story, so please bear with me. So, I'm a freshman, M19, at a medical school. Things started pretty joyfully for me when I entered college. New people, new friends, especially girls, since I was quite an introvert in school. But it's not like I never had a girl in my life. I had a very close female friend, Lisa, before coming here. She was a childhood friend from my hometown, but we got closer while preparing for our medical entrance exams. I managed to clear the exams right after high school, while she had to take a gap year. We were close, but most of our conversations were online, as her family was very conservative and I barely met her in person. Still, we had a great friendship. She was on her gap year completely off the internet, while I joined my college in New Delhi. Even though I was meeting new people, deep down, I felt something for her. I told myself I couldn't genuinely feel for anyone else until we talked about it. So, I decided to wait until July when she would clear the exam to talk things through. During this time, I became good friends with my best friend. Let's call her Tashi. From the very first day I met her, we would talk for hours and hours without stopping. I had never matched my vibes with anyone as much as I did with her. She was smart, nerdy, and most importantly, passionate, just like me. That last trait was a deal breaker for me. But as I said, I was in the middle of something with Lisa, while Tashi had already started having feelings for me, which I was unaware of at the time, and it shattered my heart when I found out later. Even though we were talking for a month, I told Tashi about Lisa, but not about the romantic part, because I was unsure myself. Anyway, Lisa cleared her exam, and we finally got to talk. I was happy but apprehensive. I expressed my feelings for her, and to my surprise, she reciprocated. We got into a relationship. I told my best friend about it, and I now realize how cruel it must have been for her. Still, Tashi congratulated me and wished me the best for the future. But things didn't work out. We couldn't maintain the long-distance relationship, plus she had a lot of family issues that made me question the future. She also became very dull as a girlfriend. She had an idealized view of love influenced by those ridiculous K-dramas. She seemed more lively when we were friends. One day, she opened up and said she was confused and doubtful about the relationship. She said, "I'm not even slightly interested in any relationship. I'm made to love someone once for a lifetime, and if it can't be you, why bother?" Why did she even accept my proposal in the first place? She made me feel vulnerable, and it was hurtful and immature. I saw it coming, but I didn't expect it to turn out like this. Within a month and a half, we broke up. I lost my self-confidence and developed commitment issues. I thought I would never be able to commit to anyone again. As soon as we broke up, I needed someone to vent to, and I called Tashi. She handled everything so well, and I knew that our friendship was going to go far. After my brief relationship with Lisa, I couldn't even look at any other girl romantically. My bond with Tashi grew stronger every day, but things were still platonic. It's not that Tashi wasn't attractive. She was beautiful. But our relationship had always been based on compassion and support. Everyone in college thought we were a couple, and even now, they still do. But things stayed platonic between us. In October, things started to change. I had recovered my self-confidence and was feeling better as a person, so I thought maybe I could look at someone romantically now. We had a freshers party coming up, and out of nowhere, I started thinking about dating Tashi. It had crossed my mind before, but I ignored it. This time, it was different. I felt like she was the one for me. Even my roommate, the male homie I mentioned earlier, advised me that we were very compatible. One day, during the annual college fest, Tashi and I had some free time, so I asked if she wanted to hang out in the gaming zone, and then maybe go to a cafe. She agreed, and we had a great time. Afterward, we went to the cafe and laughed about our batchmates. I couldn't recall ever feeling that happy, that lightheaded with any other girl. It felt like I had known her forever. As I developed feelings for her, I started thinking, if she's not the one, then who else could be? But I knew the bestie tag would make things tricky. We joked about being together, but it was never serious. We had great communication, so I thought confessing to her wouldn't be awkward. One day, we were on a phone call, and I found out that she had a crush on someone else. I had suspected it, and I was probably the only person she would tell. I felt crushed, but still confessed my feelings. She was initially shocked, but then she told me that she was happy that I felt that way, but she might need some time to think about it. I agreed. She didn't cut me off, but she talked openly about her worries. She didn't want to ruin our friendship if things didn't work out. I thought maybe her feelings for her current crush were clouding her judgment, freezing her decision. Then I found out that her crush was none other than my roommate, the male homie. She had developed feelings for him during an intercollege event that I didn't attend, and I regret it deeply. Things got complicated. My roommate knew I had feelings for Tashi, so he asked me if I wanted him to step back. But I value our friendship too much. If he stepped back, I wouldn't be able to live with myself, knowing he crushed his feelings for her just to make things work for me. We made a pact. Whoever Tashi chooses, it's fine. I decided to ask her out seriously so that we could clear everything up. I took her to an ice cream shop and told her everything from the very beginning. She was shocked that I knew about her feelings for my roommate. She was in a dilemma. After a long conversation, she said she couldn't say no to me because she trusted our bond more than anyone else's. She also told me that she had been asked out by 2 other guys, but she turned them down because of the situation with me and my roommate. She then told me that she had feelings for my roommate, but felt terrible about it. She asked me to reject her, which was heartbreaking for me. I almost broke down. Even though we didn't come to a conclusion, she said that I would always be a priority for her, regardless of everything. If she wanted to, she would have told me, I would never date you. But it wasn't like that. She had moved on from me in the past, and she never saw me romantically again until I confessed. She promised to think about it seriously, and we agreed that we would revisit things after the university exams next month. No matter the outcome, I just want her to be happy. I'm stupid, but I think it's just because deep down I'm a nice guy. I was in a relationship with a girl I met this summer on Instagram. She followed me first, and I didn't give her much attention at first. But because she knew my cousin, who I think liked her too, we started talking. Anyway, after not much time of talking and sharing sweet words that made it clear we liked each other, I told her the magic words. Or should I say, the cursed words. I was the first one to say, I love you, and I think that was my biggest mistake. What followed was just a toxic relationship. She was sweet in texts, but cold in person, and that made me question everything about us. Not too long ago, I had broken up with a girl I had met. Long story short, I was just a bandage for her, and after we started dating, she got back into a good relationship with her ex. After that, I was mad at myself for being so stupid, and I didn't want to be a fool again. Anyway, my current ex was playing with me too. She said all those sweet things, telling me how much she wanted me to sleep in the same bed with her because it was cold, only to turn cold on me when I saw her. She didn't talk as much as she used to. She didn't seem happy to see me, and she didn't even kiss me back when I tried. Just stayed still, like everything was a dream. I told her about all these things, and she always had excuses, like her mother or her other relationships, and her favorite was that she was abandoned by her mother when she was young and had a rough time with her father. Some part of it might be true, I'll never know, but I'm sure not all of it was. We broke up after that, and after everything she said about not knowing how to love again, I started to believe her. I thought maybe it was my fault. I made her uncomfortable, and I didn't think about her situation. All of this made me beg for her to come back and give me another chance. I think this gave her absolute power over me. I stopped doing the things I usually did because of it, and I was often dreaming about us. After a while, I started to see there was no chance for us to get back together. We didn't talk anymore, and she was very cold with me. I finally started thinking about letting her go and getting over it, because if someone really wants to be with you, they will work for it. And I didn't see her working for us. I started watching videos and reading stories about how to get over a breakup, and it helped me. I didn't think about her as much and could enjoy my life again. I even started talking to other girls. But then Giannina came into the picture. She was a girl from another city who followed me first and messaged me first. Since girls usually don't text first unless you're a super hot guy or a celebrity, I checked her profile and saw she was also following my ex. Big red flag. She was very straightforward with me, asking if I had a girlfriend, flirting, and so on. She didn't like my ex at all. It turns out they knew each other, and this girl had been in a relationship with my ex's cousin. She had actually told me about her before, but I didn't know it was her. I was still talking to my ex because I was still dreaming about us and hadn't forgotten her completely, so I knew this wasn't a good situation. If they hated each other so much, why were they following each other on social media? What made it clear to me that they were both on the same team was when I went live once and they both entered. They started swearing at each other, so I ended the live. After that, Giannina kept talking about my ex too much, like she was trying to get me to talk badly about her. I knew what was going on, so I played it safe. But one day, my ex and I talked about getting back together, and she was colder than usual. Even though I knew Giannina was just playing with me, I wanted to play with her too. Also, my cousin told me I had nothing to lose anyway. I told Giannina all the things I didn't like about my ex, getting a stone off my chest, saying all the bad things she did and how stupid she was for leaving me. My ex then told me she knew everything I had said to Giannina and that she was actually going to give us another chance. I don't think she meant it. But not now, because I had made her look stupid. She was mad because I made her look stupid, not for all the other things I had said, or because I was in a relationship with her enemy. So, we didn't talk anymore after that. It was my fault. I didn't have much experience in relationships, and this one was very special for me because she made me feel loved. I put in too much effort and rushed to give her my all, energy, love, and time. I was just too stupid to see what was in front of me because I was blinded by this new feeling I had never experienced before. I was left sad and alone, still thinking about her. I almost forgot her, but she made me feel like trash again, and now it's harder for me to forget her. After some time, we started talking again, and for the sake of the old times, we sweet-talked again. She told me she wanted to be together again, but not now, and that we should wait. I gave her another chance, even though I didn't feel the same love as before. This time, I was just lonely and wanted to be with someone again. Well, after a while, I told her it was time to be together, and I had waited enough for her. But she told me she couldn't be in a relationship now. And after some time, she told me she had a boyfriend, and it was really over for us. I knew it. This time, I wasn't as hurt, but it still stung to see she was the same girl she was before. Time passed, and now I only think of her as part of my ugly past. I will never be with her again, even if she begs for it. I still have her on Snapchat, I don't know why, but it doesn't bother me that much to take her off. She still opens my snaps, I don't open hers pretty fast, and one night I got dared to message her. Just for fun I did it, and she opened it so fast that I started laughing. The One That Got Away But Lived in My Heart by Harry Dante. This is a story about how fate brought me 40M and Sally 30F together on a bittersweet journey. Even though time has passed, my love for her remains strong and intense. We met in college, and I was drawn to Sally's beauty, quiet strength, and intelligence. Our paths crossed by chance, and a friendship began to take shape. As young adults, we were involved in our own complicated relationships, but we became close friends without realizing the deeper connection growing between us. As time passed, we went our separate ways. I got a job after graduation, while Sally continued her academic journey. Yet, despite the physical distance, our bond remained strong, and we found ourselves drawn back together by fate. When Sally's boyfriend left for another country, our relationship changed. Our conversations became more meaningful and intimate. I became someone she could rely on, supporting her through tough times and everyday struggles. Time passed and I found out that my on-again, off-again partner, MJ, 26 at the time, was going to have a baby. Our baby. I had to step up and become a responsible father. I left my job and started my own business with my parents' help to support my growing family. During this big change, Sally came back into my life. We became business partners and chased our dreams of success together. Our work brought us closer, and our feelings for each other grew stronger. Even during busy work days, our connection remained strong, and fondness began to blossom. During one of our business trips, we shared a room to save money. At that point, we were just friends in business, and neither of us imagined anything romantic could happen. How naive. That night, as we lay next to each other, we naturally moved closer and held each other. It wasn't planned. It just happened, and it felt right. We realized there was something special between us, something more than friendship. The next morning, we were still in each other's arms, and we couldn't ignore the mix of emotions we were feeling. We questioned ourselves, feeling both conflicted and drawn to each other. In the following days, weeks, and months, we shared secret moments, stolen kisses, and deep conversations that brought us even closer. But underneath it all, I felt guilty about how this was affecting my relationship with MJ, the mother-to-be of my child. My love for MJ had been fading even before her pregnancy, and I knew I had to make a choice. The woman I once loved fiercely now stood far away from me. Sally and I, however, were both sliding down a path of love that would leave a lasting impact on us. As life's twists and turns unfolded, I faced a decision that could change many lives. My family's expectations clashed with my strong connection to Sally. In the middle of this struggle, I knew one thing for sure. The road ahead was uncertain, but my heart wanted to follow its desires. The love between Sally and me, though unexpected and turbulent, held a power that couldn't be ignored. I decided to confront the truth and embrace the journey to find my happiness, no matter where it led. It was risky, but the magnetic pull of our love was irresistible. So with feelings for Sally and old promises in my mind, I opened up to MJ, ready to face the consequences of our fading affection. I understood that sometimes to find true happiness, we need to break free from tradition and embrace the unknown, all in the name of love. MJ and I broke up. But the reality is, Sally and I could never be together. She wasn't keen on escaping the grip of romance with her man, who awaited her abroad. We both eventually made choices that led us down different roads, and now we live with the consequences. MJ and I never got back together. Sometimes, life doesn't give us the happy ending we hope for. Love alone isn't always enough. It needs the right timing and circumstances, which just weren't in our favor. I carry my love for Sally in my heart as a reminder of what could have been. Our memories together are precious, but I know I need to love the people here with me now, my wife and our child. They deserve my love, despite lingering thoughts of Sally. Now I find peace in knowing that love comes in many forms. It's not limited to one person or one path. Love can be found unexpectedly, with unexpected people. Maybe one day my path will cross with Sally's again, but for now, I cherish the love I have and the life I've built. I'll hold on to the love inside me and see where life takes me. And in my quiet moments, I wish Sally happiness and love wherever she is. And now, here I am, getting older with each passing year, but my heart is still deeply connected to a love that defied the limits of time and circumstance. Sally, my cherished one that got away, remains in my heart and memories. No matter where life takes me or what choices I make, her presence will always stay with me, reminding me of a love that could never be